Sure, our camera's good. We're back. Alright, cool. Hello, 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 beautiful people from all around the world. This is Ndile coming to you live and direct from Lamaja.tv, Lamaja Media. Hope all is well with you today. Hope you're having a good Monday. Today, we got ourselves a book review. And not only do we have a book review, but we'll probably also have a bit of a movie review as well. So it's kind of a little bit of a double header. We are going to be reviewing the book Culture Vultures by Damon Dash and Kenyatta Griggs. Highly anticipated book. Make sure you guys stay healthy. A little coconut water. Highly anticipated book, and one that I looked forward to reading, and one that I did read in its entirety. And overall, I thought it was a pretty solid book. We're going to get into it, a couple of things, but overall, I thought it was a pretty solid piece of work. The book is basically it's kind of like Kenyatta, who is Dame's partner. He's kind of setting up these topics, and and Dame is kind of just expounding on all of these different topics, right? So he's kind of like setting the scene on what they're going to be talking about, and then Dame kind of just gives his take on various topics, right? And his tying in his life experiences, and at the end of every chapter, he's like, there's some key points or some gems that they want people kind of like to, hone in on, kind of like some good take-home points. Right out the gates, though, I will say, right out the gates, he starts putting people on blast. This man holds no punches. He goes to expose and point out, a lot of the culture vultures. Okay, that's a word that has taken a life of its own. A lot of us end up using that word for so many other different things, and people who rob or steal from other people's cultures and things like that. And it's a word that has, taken on a life of its own. But it's also important to know the source of where that word comes from. And this is the guy that it comes from, Damon Dash. But right out the gates, he starts talking about Leor Cohen, talking about Steve Stout. What's even funny is that even at the end of the book, and this is an interesting book, but even at the end of the book, he has Class of Culture Vultures. Check that out. At the end of the book, he's got a class of culture vultures with everybody. These are the creme de la creme of all the culture vultures right here. Right? Your Leor Cohen's at the top of his class, your Steve Stouts and your Charlie Walks, Alan Grenblatts, these type of guys, right? But these are the people who are in the industry who will lie to win, or lie or cheat to win, and rip you off. And what's interesting is you might look at these kind of people, the Steve Stouts and Leor Cohens. You might look at them and think, okay, well, what are the chances of me meeting one of these guys? I'm not involved in the music industry or entertainment like that. But believe it or not, you can actually use these type of men metaphorically, because everybody either knows somebody who knows a Steve Stout or an Alan Grenblatt or a Leor Cohen. We know somebody like that. Either you know somebody like that, or you can end up meeting somebody like that. So it's important to be able to recognize the signs of these type of people. It's important to be able to recognize the signs of these type of people, because these type of people will come in many shapes and sizes and colors throughout our life journey. They will come up. They might not come. That might not be them per se, that particular person, but that person type. You'll definitely run into that kind of person, especially if you're into business, right? Especially if you're into business and entrepreneurship, right? So you have to be aware of that and recognize those signs so you don't get ripped off. And y'all know me. Y'all know how much I do not like coons. Y'all know how much I do not like scammers. Can't stand them. Worst people on the planet to me, right? Aside from your racist and, you know, pedophiles and murderers and rapists and all these type of people, molesters. Don't like scammers at all. Can't stand them. The book is pretty broad. You know, the book, it's a broad book. It goes into a lot of different directions. So there's many topics that he talks about, from race to racism to family, diabetes. He talks about everything, almost everything that affects his life, or so there's so many different topics that have impacted Dame's life that you can tell, and he's just basically giving his expertise or his take on these topics. A couple of key chapters that I liked. I did like cultural parasites. I like the closet racism, black business dysfunction, definition of a man. A lot of good chapters. And, I'm going to point out a couple of gems that I liked. One gem that I really liked and could appreciate is a consistent business, right? Describes the best business. Understand this, guys, that being successful in life, right, it is always going to tie to some level, because it is always going to tie to some level of consistency. You have to have consistency or upkeep. Okay, it's very important that you have consistency or upkeep in whatever it is that you're doing in order to be successful. It's like trying to get healthy, right? Trying to go to the gym, get in shape. One of the key things is you got to be consistent. Okay, and that is one of the keys to having a successful business, is consistency. A lot of people don't do the upkeep work, right? Or even being in a relationship, being in love, right? You gotta be consistent. You gotta, there's maintenance that must be done, right? And a lot of people don't realize that you have to do that in order to make it function and be successful. Just like with a car, just like with being healthy, going to the gym. You have to have that consistency. It's always important to keep your word. Your word is bond, right? And I can tell that Dame is that kind of guy, even though, he's one of those kind of people that not a lot of people are going to probably like the way that he speaks. He's a prime example of a person who is, you want to listen to the message, not necessarily how it's delivered, because throughout his delivery, he may have he might pause, he might say pause every once in a while, or use some foul language, but, overall he has a lot of good things to say. And you can tell he uses that approach throughout life, right? He uses that approach throughout life, and a lot of people can take that as naivete, or they can take it as a kindness, taking your kindness for weakness, and then it ends up getting him ripped off, or it ends up getting him burned. And I can understand, because I'm very similar to that. I can relate to that. I can tell, right? This kind of guy just tells it the way it is. Word is bond. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. So you expect it out of somebody else. Verbal agreement, shake on it, look you in the eye, that type of guy. But some people can understand that you're that type of person, and then they can maybe manipulate and have some sort of ulterior motives because they know that you're that kind of person, and then they can come off as that kind of person as well. So you look at somebody and you'll think, oh man, this person's a stand-up guy, or this person's a stand-up person, right? They're just like me, honorable, right? But they're just doing that as a cover-up just so they can go ahead and snake you or stab you in the back because they know that's how you operate. It's sick, but that's how some people think, and I know that's what got Dame Dash, upset about it in a lot of situations, because you think like, how are you gonna, stab me in the back, or how are you gonna do something like that? Or men don't do that. Men don't operate like that. I understand his school of thought, I really do, but some people don't think like that, and unfortunately they take advantage of a lot of people who do think in such a stand-up way, like, I don't need all this, and just verbal agreement, we're going to do this or not, is it this way or not, you know what I'm saying? Or, look me in the eye and tell me like a man, don't do nothing behind my back, none of that type of stuff, but guys operate like, some men operate like that, unfortunately. And that's just, you got to be careful about that. But you could tell he's speaking about those life experiences as well. And I've been burned by people as well, just because I've been so, you would think like, man, you ever just been a person where you're like, you're almost like you're a better friend to them than they are to you. You know what I mean? Like, man, I would never do this to you. I've only done this, I've only done good things for you. And then you don't get that reciprocity. It doesn't come back the way that you receive it. You know what I mean? You're almost like you're a good friend to other people, but they're not really a good friend to you type. But I definitely can relate to that. And then he says another gem: a man that doesn't take care of his responsibilities, his family, has a vagina. And every man's job is to take care of people other than himself. See, that's Dame for you, though. See, which I like Dame. See, his delivery is raw as hell, okay? But I get exactly what he's saying, right? But you got to be careful. See, when you have a certain level of delivery, when you say something like that, a man that doesn't take care of his responsibilities, his family, has a vagina, right? And, you got to be careful because when you think about it, women also take care of responsibilities, right? And, they have a family as well. And even within the family, a man can't do everything. A woman's got to be able to perhaps cook or clean or change the kids or whatever the family unit has agreed upon. Okay, a woman's going to also have some sort of responsibilities as well. But I get exactly what he's trying to say, which he made it clear in the next statement where he says every man's job is to take care of people other than himself. In other words, a man should be a leader. A man should be, somebody who, takes care of his business. And if he doesn't, then he's acting as a vagina. I get what he's saying, but you see what, if somebody who can't read in between the lines or see what he's saying can kind of reach and say, well, women take care of responsibilities too, or whatever. You see, that's what people can kind of get lost in the message. But I get what he's saying because I understand his school of thought. I really do. But, in this day and age, you've got a lot of, what I like to call, you got a lot of boys running around. Right, you got a lot of boys running around, and you got a lot of selfish people, and unfortunately got the game messed up. So even though what he said came out a little bit unfiltered, I can understand. I can understand. And but again, other people who can read into it might think like, well, doesn't a woman take care of responsibilities? Women have vaginas, right? But I get him. I get what he's saying, right? And that's just his school of thought. All racists are highly insecure individuals is another gem. Couldn't agree more. They are. It's one thing to have love or affinity towards your race or favor towards your race. You walk into a room and you first of all, see, whenever I walk into a classroom, like this is just growing up or, going through higher education, getting my degrees and stuff. The first thing I do, I walk into a classroom, you always look around. You always look around. You size everybody up. I look around and see, okay, Who's black in here? How many black people I got in here? All right, let's see. Got one. We got one black woman in here. Okay. Okay, and I'm like, all right, there's only one. Okay, let me look around here. Okay, let me see if there's anything other than white. Let me see here. Okay, look like there's a Hispanic and there's a Mexican woman here. Okay. Okay. All right. And then that's how I think. Right? When I go into a place, I size it up. Then I look for any potential false flags. Anybody wearing a trench coat or something. Look like you might be carrying weapons or something. Well, let me just look around, see if there's anybody who's sitting in a corner somewhere looking like a redheaded stepchild or something. I don't want nobody coming up in here letting off something. You know, I always check. You always gotta check your surroundings because this is the country that we live in, and these type of things happen. But racists are highly insecure individuals, and like I said, it's one thing to have favor or love towards your race, but it's another thing to systematically oppress other people because you're afraid of other races. That's a whole nother ball game, right? Which is the system which we live in. It's one thing to have love for your race or love for your people. I love my people. I love black people. I love us, right? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's another thing if I'm going to systematically oppress other races because I'm afraid of them, right? Or I'm trying to gain advantage over them by cheating, or as he has in one of his chapters in his book, cheating to win. You know, those who cheat to win. You know, so that was a good one. Another one that I liked is the key to breaking the psychological chains of systematic hate, self-hate, starts with loving yourself. Hate reflects hate and love reflects love. That was a good one. That was a very, 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 very good point. The key to breaking the psychological chains of systematic self-hate starts with loving yourself. Hate reflects hate and love reflects love. It's deep. Very, very, very deep. I can tell. I get a lot of comments. I get negative comments quite often. A lot of you guys don't see a lot of the negative comments because, you know, I have a video that I put up, the 5 types of people on social media that you have to worry about, and that's it. There's only 5 types. And a lot of comments are negative, haters, spam. And I can tell by the comments because I read so much. I can tell by the comments exactly the kind of person that I'm dealing with. You know, your writing has life in it. Your writing has life in it. You can read a book like this, and you can kind of tell. You can get an outline or a clue as to who Damon Dash is as a person just by reading, because it's in the writing. It's in the way that they speak. And I read so much, I can tell exactly the kind of person that I'm dealing with. You know, a lot of people, they don't love themselves. That's the first thing you need to do before you even think about doing anything else, is loving yourself, making sure you are good with yourself, or else you are doing a disservice to yourself. You know, I know a lot of you people, you love others, but you don't necessarily love yourself. But you can love others even better or even harder or even more if you knew how to love yourself better, you see. And sometimes people can take advantage of you when people can take advantage of you because of what you give them, but you don't necessarily give it to yourself. You must always pay yourself first. You must always love yourself first. You have to. You know, it's very important. And like I said, you know, I get people who post negative things on my videos and stuff, and I almost never go searching for a video to hate on. You're never going to see me go and search for a video and hate on it. It's usually something that these are people that I know or are in the community or something of that nature, to where I might watch something and I might disagree. And if I don't like it, I'll leave, or I just click out. I don't agree with that. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's so bad to where I have to make a comment, but I'm not gonna like make a negative comment. It'll be like criticism, but it won't be negative. It won't be like hate. You know what I'm saying? You know, and as a man, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. But there are grown men, Grown people, grown men that I have to check. I have to check regularly. Say, you are a grown man. And you're talking about you don't have time for such things, but you have time to come over here and hate? How? This is why I can understand Dave saying you got a vagina. This is what I can understand, but you got to be careful when you're saying stuff like that, right? So you don't necessarily indict an entire people like that. But I understand. It's like calling somebody the B word or the P word, right? Pussycat, all right? You know, I understand what he's saying, but you know, there are people, grown men who do that. There are grown men who do that, and it's a sad thing to see. And unfortunately, these are empty people. I look at it and I say, these are empty people. These are empty vessels, you know, who are hurting, who have no love, who are missing something in their life. Mommy issues, daddy issues, money issues, relationship issues, you know, whatever it can be. I get people hating on me because they can't grow hair. I don't know. It's like, it's crazy to some of the stuff that I be seeing. Like, what is this? It's insane. It's insane. Some of the stuff people get upset about and comment on. Some of the craziest comments that I see that are like, I'll tell you, I have a video that goes for like 2 hours talking about something, and the only thing somebody talks about is my hair. A grown man. Like, are you really, pause, are you really going to sit here and focus on my hair? Instead of focus on the message and the things that I'm talking about? Wow. You're out of control. But I can see the emptiness. You know. Another gem that I like, which is very good. Flipping money is better than sitting on money. Circulate your money back into your business and watch it grow. Love that. I love that point because it's very, 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 very true. Very true. Like, one of the easiest things, which is it's not that complicated, but we've made it complicated, is just owning a home, renting it out. Getting a home is very complicated when you don't have like good credit and different things like. But even then, there's ways around certain situations. But you know, when you're set up in the right way, just getting something like getting a home and renting it out is one of the simplest ways where you can own a business, right? I mean, think about it. You got like $150,000, right? Say you're sitting on 150 grand, right? You got 150 grand in the bank. Average savings account is going to give you maybe 0.01%, right? The average savings account, U.S. Bank, is going to give you 0.01%. If you just got 150,000 sitting in a bank, right, just to collect interest, that's about like what, $15 a month? $15 a month. Or you could take that same 150 grand and you can go buy a house, which there are houses for 150 grand in places in the United States, a lot of places. It might not be LA or it might not be Miami, but it could be like Kansas. It could be like, you know, one of these Alabama, one of these places where they have a large school, you know what I'm saying, Nebraska or something like that, right? Right? You can easily take that same $150,000 instead of having it sitting in a bank. You could put it into a house, and instead of you making $15 a month on interest from it sitting in a bank, you can charge somebody to live in that house and make anywhere from $700 to $1,000 a month. There's nothing that I can think of outside of a business itself that you're going to be able to make money like that without necessarily sitting back and doing nothing. All you're doing is just sitting back and collecting every month, just like you do interest in a bank, right? And then, on top of that, right, you can withdraw that money from your house. You can always resell the house for the same price or more, and you made all that money in rent. People don't think like that. They just think, oh, just put your money in a bank and just save it. No. Put it out there and make more. Flip, flip, flip. You see? That's just one of the simplest ways to make money, and it doesn't require that much much maintenance, right? It doesn't require that much maintenance outside of the maintenance of the house or emergencies and stuff like that. But it doesn't require that much. And you're making money and you're just, while you sleep, you're just chilling. That's the key. That's major, major key. That's one key that you're always going to need somebody to place to live. That's one of the easiest things that you could do to make money, aside making that kind of money or good money, aside from actually having an actual business where you're doing the work and stuff. Then obviously you can make way more, but you're doing work. This is something that you're not doing any work. Just like a bank, you ain't got to do no work. You just have it sit there, it collects interest. You see what I'm saying? Just the same thing with a house. Somebody lives there, pay you every month. That's it. Take care of all the other. You tell them what they got to take care of, and you might take care of certain responsibilities, but other than that, you just sit back and chill. You see? Well, people don't think like that. And if you think about it, what would you rather make? $15 a month or $1,000+ a month? Right? You see? You see? So, stuff like that. That's why I'm into flipping money. I'm really into that. And you know, one thing I can't stand is see, I like Dame because Dame gives you the game. I like people like that. Give me the game. Give me the game. Give me the plug. Stop hiding. Stop playing these games. Me, I'm the type of guy, I give you the game. If I know how to do something, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Here's how you do it, X, Y, Z. This is how you do it. I'm going to give you the game. I'm going to give you the game. I'm not trying to sit here and hide it because my thing is, you can't take this from me or what I'm doing because you can't do me better than I can do me. Right? You can't do me better than you, and I can't do you better than you can do you. So I'm not worried about giving you some advice. Go run with it. Be successful, run with it. Good. Because I got my own thing going on. Right? But you know, I like guys like him because he'll give you the game. I don't like the people who want to sell you like nonsense, how to get rich and you get rich quick schemes and books and things that say how you be a millionaire and you can get this stuff from the library for free or you know what I'm saying, or just teach me how to flip. You know what I'm saying? Just teach me how to flip. Okay? A real man is going to show you how to flip. And not try to take your money like it's some Sunday sermon or something, that makes you feel good, about being broke. Okay? I don't need to sit here and say, if you got $500, I'm not going to say, hey, give me your $500. I'm going to give you my course that's going to make you feel good. And then now you're starting from zero. No, I know you ain't got no money. I know you broke. So what I'm going to do, you got $5. Let's figure out how we can make that $1,000. Well, let's figure out how we can make that, we could double that, triple that, quadruple that, right? I don't want you starting from zero because I'm trying to give you some, because all I did was just get money off you, but I left you with nothing, right? But then some people might say, well, hey, if you invest in that, maybe that might make you 50,000 or 30. Yeah, come on now. What are the chances of that? What are the chances of that? You need to keep your money. You need to keep all the money that you can get. It ain't about what you get, it's about what you keep. Okay, it ain't about what you get; it's about what you keep. And a lot of us, we end up becoming addicted to these business things. Some of us are mastermind course and this and that and all this. We just like to hear. It's almost like a gospel in another form, in the financial gospel. Instead of just teaching you teach me how to multiply my money, add and multiply. That's all I'm concerned about. Okay, that's it. How can I make this 5 into 1,000? Okay? I respect the guy who tells me, hey, buy this, resell it. Versus somebody saying some other stuff that isn't going to help me. I don't care if it's simple. Buy this, resell it here. Okay, thank you. That's a start. 500 isn't a lot, but what you could do is you could buy this. There's some arbitrage here. So you could buy this because it's low, buy it low here, and then you can actually sell it in this market for high. You can flip that 5 and do that. And then you know what I'm saying? There's so many different things that you could do, and then it says, okay, but you're never in the negative. You know what I'm saying? Your money is always there circulating. I like people who do stuff like that versus giving you fake stuff that's not going to help you. We got a lot of people who like to sell dreams and sell financial, fallacies. It's ridiculous. Flipping. I like flipping. Very key. Another key gem that I liked in this in this book is a real man. A real man hustles for his last name, not his first. A real man hustles for his last name, not his first. Love that. Probably one of my favorite gems in the whole book. My mother always told me growing up, she always told me, remember your name. Andile, remember your name. Remember your name. Always remember your name. She always taught me that growing up. So I don't go out in the world and embarrass my family or embarrass my future children, right? You know, you got to build for generational wealth. You got to build your legacy. Eventually, like my platform, for example, when it becomes large, you know, the main thing on this platform, aside from we've been dealing with a lot of drama, but it's still real life stuff that we have to deal with, you know, pay inequality amongst black women and, you know, things like that, hashtag invest in women. You know, we deal with a lot of things that may not necessarily fit with what we got going on over here, but, you know, duty calls sometimes, right? But this platform, when it becomes large, the 5 aspects being books is the foundation. Everything is tied to books. Okay? As a matter of fact, one of the hidden symbolisms between my logo, I never told you guys what this whole thing meant, but one of the key symbolisms, as you see, balance, chakras, right? The colors, but one of the key symbolisms is you see the books stacked on. Don't stack paper, we stack books, right? Don't stack paper, we stack books. So reading is a very heavy passion of mine. I love to read. So that is one of the aspects of this platform. I want to say there's 5 major aspects. Books being the foundation. And by the way, even though this is a name, it's actually an acronym, and it's among a bunch of other things that I'll probably break down way in the future what this whole thing means. But books is the foundation, as you can see the stack of books on the logo. Another aspect is music. Not only are these books, but these are actually like music visual bars. So you ever you see the music bars that go up and down when you're listening to music? Music visual bars, because we like to break down music videos, and you know, I like to showcase different music on here from different people and stuff. And if you guys ever have music that you like, or music that you are that you create, feel free to send it to me. I don't care if it's instrumentals or you're singing. I had somebody email me that they sing or whatever, and if you ever want me to just showcase it, if it's good, if it's positive, if it's a good vibe, I will. You know, I like world music. I don't really like, you know, the music that's on the mainstream now. But music is another aspect. Art and photography is another aspect. I'm huge into art and photography. I got a whole bunch of art throughout my house. A lot of photography. Somebody asked me a question the other day about where do I get my art pieces. I have an aunt back home in Africa. In Botswana. My father's from the States, but my mother's from the continent, and her sister sends a lot of things to me, and these are some things that she sent me. So a lot of stuff is exclusive from the continent, so it's hard to get, but you can find a lot of good things on Instagram, believe it or not. But art and photography is a huge thing on this platform that I have not showcased. I truly appreciate art, so you know, but it's going to come eventually. Movies is another thing. I love to do movie breakdowns, love to documentaries, things like that. It's another aspect. And the last aspect is gaming. I haven't really got into that yet. I got to figure out how I'm going to make that work, you know. But as you say, you hustle for your last name, not your first name. So I incorporate gaming because the way I see it is that gaming eventually is going to be huge. These esports and, you know, esports, and I mean they're gonna if you look at places like in China and Japan, it's almost like a football stadium the way that they set up their gaming culture and lifestyle. I mean, these people are like the equivalent of football and basketball stars over there. They're gaming guys, right? And of course, I know children like games as well. And I can see that becoming a massive, massive thing in the future. I can see that already. I can project that. So I'm incorporating that as well on the platform, but I don't know how I'm going to do it yet because it's got to be right. But I do know eventually that I will have children. I will have children. Hopefully a lot of children. 4 to 6 is what I'm hoping for. But I do know that. So if I'm going to introduce my children to this platform, perhaps we'll have something to where we'll have that gaming thing going on as well. But it's got to be right. It's got to be tasteful. But those are the 5 aspects of La Magia, which is books, music, movies, art, photography, and gaming. Those are the main things. But that's building generational wealth. I think in that direction because I know one of my sons or my daughters is going to like one of these things. I know for sure. So you don't have to go somewhere. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to go somewhere and beg somebody for a job. You don't have to go somewhere and beg. I got everything covered. You like movies? We got that covered. You like books? We got that covered. You like music? We got that covered. You like arts and photography? We got that covered. You like gaming? We got that covered. You like social activism and politics and all that? We got that covered too, because at the end of the day, this is a multimedia news platform as well. So we do have to talk about the news and the issues as well. It's very important. So, like I said, when I introduce my kids into this platform, I've already thought ahead on what they can get into, or some things that are set up for them that they can like. Hustle for your last name, not for your first, right? You're not going to be here You're not going to be here forever. Your time will expire. So be sure to be thinking about somebody other than yourself. It's very important. Men got to be examples and show their kids what it means to be a good man. I like that gem. You got to lead by example. You really, really do. And I can see these good things in Damon Dash. I can see these things that he drops, these gems that he drops, because I incorporate a lot of this stuff into the way I do things over here as well. And one thing about Dame, man, I'll say this. I've been supporting Dame for a very, very long time. A very, very long time from I'm not like a freaking huge supporter, but I mean I've been involved in a lot of the things he's been doing since the jump. I remember stuff like Block Savvy. Okay, this guy had a social media. He had his own social media platform called Block Savvy. I was signed up on that, right? To Pro Kids. Okay, when his Pro Kid shoes hit finish line, I remember going to finish line, and this was like, maybe the end of my high school times, right? I remember going to finish line and seeing all these different shoes, these Pro Kids in different colors, and and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, all right, I can either get a pair of Jordans and pay $300, but Jordan ain't going to see all this money. These other people are going to see all this money. And, it's not independently owned. And I only get one pair of shoes. Or I can use that same $300 and I can go and buy maybe 3 or 4 pairs of Pro Kids. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take these 4 Pro Kids, or these 3 Pro Kids, because that's going to be, back then when you think about it, it was a quantity thing too. When you're in school, you got a lot of pairs of kicks. It's like, oh yeah, okay. And plus they were cool too. There was a cool pair of kicks. It wasn't like something off-brand or something, right? But it's almost like that Cat Williams skit, Make a Pimp Decision, when he had his little son. He's like, okay, son, we at GameStop. You can either buy, your daddy can get you an Xbox with 1 controller, and your dad can't play with you, and you can only get 1 game, or you can get this Nintendo 64, 600 games. We can get 2 controllers, and I can play alongside with you. We can go to McDonald's. I can get a chicken McNugget. We can throw 2 out the window. What you gonna do, son? And his son's like, You said I could get 600 games? I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the 60. Okay, make a pimp decision. Make a pimp decision. You know. Shout out to Cat Williams. He was the truth. I liked him. But yeah, anyway. You know, that's how I used to think back when I was in high school. I'd be like, man, I can get this many for that versus and stay fresh and stay and stay clean and y'all notice me. I wear a lot of the same things, but they are different things. So you might see me wearing the thermal, a long sleeve, or a white T-shirt, black T-shirt, or perhaps a dashiki, some sort of African garb, or something that I've supported, some small business, some small black business. I'll wear one of their shirts or something like that. But other than that, I don't wear all this other different. I am very intentional with my living and my look and stuff like that, because that's how I think. I think in such a ways where it's like, how can I live in abundance versus living in scarcity or where I don't feel good about myself. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, I've always respected and have been supporting Dame's business ventures for a minute. And like I said, prime example of listen to the message. Don't necessarily worry so much about the messenger. I mean, like, I don't mind. Me personally, I don't mind the way that he delivers his message because I got thick skin. Stuff doesn't bother me. Like when sometimes y'all will hear something and then you'll be so mad at the way that he's talking because and it's like, don't worry about all that. Because some people are like super sensitive. Like, you got to understand, this is a guy who's from New York. He's from New York, Harlem, New York, and my brother works out in New York as well. He practices law out in New York. And there's just a certain way that New Yorkers, a certain way that they talk. You almost think that they're being arrogant or upset, but that ain't it. They're actually, if you ask them anything, they're really nice. They'll tell you, if you need help, or if you need help, they'll help you or whatever. But you think that the way that they're talking is almost like they're talking down or being smart aleck. Other people don't understand that. But when you're not well traveled and you haven't been in different places or talked to different people, you just realize, oh, that's just their slang, or that's just just like somebody could see a country person who talks with a southern accent. You might think, oh, this person is slow. This person is slow. No, some of the most brilliant minds that came from the South. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't want to necessarily judge a book by its cover, but some people have those age-old stereotypes where they do that. But you can tell that he's a good person. You could tell, and I guess this is a good time to segue into his movie. I will say that the movie type, his movie style, isn't necessarily a type that I like to watch on the regular. I'm a documentary, sci-fi. I love comedies, but I'm not huge into action films like that. Guys jumping from 30-foot buildings and all that. I mean, I'm not really into the action. Just personally, it's not my preference. But I did watch Dame Dash's movie. I did watch Honor Up. Honor Up, Honor Up. I did watch that movie. So I did that because, of course, I am supporting this man and supporting independence, black independence. I do support that. I'm big on honor. I see that Dame Dash is also big on honor and code, and being a man. There's just certain principles and certain things, unwritten rules that you must follow as a man. Some of us might call them man laws. You know what I'm saying? Certain codes that you're supposed to just abide by as a man that, is being blurred and lost because we got a lot of bati boys running around here. A lot of guys who are very effeminate and who have lost the art of their manliness, I guess, to say. But I'm big on honor. I'm big on code. I'm big on word is bond, keeping your word. And of course, I'm into truly supporting black businesses and things that are independent. As a matter of fact, this movie has motivated me to want to watch more independent films as well. Like I gotta, as I said, this is one of the aspects of this platform is movies. I gotta start watching some more independent films. And Dame is a guy who's always preaching about that independence. Another guy I listen to, Ryan Leslie, he's a guy that I listen to as well, is about independence. You know, I've been working for myself for, I want to say, almost 4 years now. 4 years now I've been, you know, working for myself. And now I'm currently coding something and building something that's going to get the people paid. It's going to be huge. I'm so excited about it. And I've been saying this over and over. And eventually, when it's time to roll out this thing that I want to roll out to you guys, eventually, I'm going to put all the clips together when I kept telling y'all I got something that's coming. I'm going to put them all together. And then, boom, it's going to be huge. Y'all going to love it. I'm telling you, it's going to shake the game up. But, like I said, I've been working for myself for like 4 years now. And, you know, this is inspirational, very inspirational. But as I said, I've been slacking on my movie reviews, and this has inspired me to want to see more independent films, do more movie reviews on this platform. Y'all send me documentaries or give me tips or any type of movies that you think I should check out. I'm looking into where I can go watch indie films on the internet, or where can I go watch or support indie films. I like black ones. Let's keep it black. Because you know, black people economically are on the bottom, so I have to put my effort into that and supporting black businesses. So black independent films, you know, it could be from another country, Africa, France, or not Africa in a country, but it could be you know, from an African country or France or, you know, the UK, something that's independent. But I will say, you know, this project, this Honor Up project, like I said, you know, I'm not into I'm not huge into action. Shoot 'em up, bang bang, you know, black on black crime. Like, come on, dog, come on now. You know, I'm not into that. I'm gonna keep it real. You know, Paid in Full 2.0. You know, I'm feeling like one of them ball players. I'm money making Mitch. I'm feeling like one of them ball players, man. You know, it got me feeling good. Shout out to Mekhi Phifer. And you know, but I'm not into that, the shoot 'em up type stuff. And every other scene, it was like somebody was getting smoked, man. Like every other scene, somebody's getting popped. Like, dang, man. Like every other scene, somebody's getting shot up. So, you know, I wasn't feeling that. I got to keep it real. But I will say also, you know, I did not like when Dame's OG, Daniel, right? He's primo in this movie. He ended up getting killed. He ended up getting shot. I didn't like that because to me, he was the coolest character. He was the realest character in the movie. I liked him the best. He was the coolest character, no lie. So, but he ended up getting shot. And I will say in the movie, one of the best lines that I loved in that movie was Dame's character when he was visiting him in jail. Dame's character visited him in jail, and then Daniel, or Primo in the movie, right? His name was Primo in the movie, and he's like, you don't gotta be a killer, man. You don't gotta be a killer. You don't gotta be a drug dealer to earn your points, man. You know, and I believe Primo, he got caught up for something. I want to say a murder or something, right? And so he was facing life. Okay, he was facing life. So he was like, man, you can find. He was telling Dame's character, Daniel, or Primo. He was telling Dame's character when he was visiting him, man, you don't got to be a killer, man. You don't got to be a drug dealer to earn your points, man. You can find us another route. You smart. You can find us another route. You can find another route, man. Like, just all you got to do is just stay honorable. Be honorable, right? You know, be honorable to your family. Stay away from them suckers, man. Stay away from them suckers, right? Don't support people who ain't right. Don't support them people who ain't right. You know, we ain't hustling for our first. We hustling for our last. That's real. That's some real stuff right there. Realest thing in the whole movie. And I like that. I like that scene. And but he ended up getting killed. But aside from that, he can act pretty good too. Those guys can act as well. And I will say that it's good to see brothers, you know, black men acting this type of thing out. Even though I say I'm not really into, you know, these, you know, people getting smoked every other scene and getting shot every other scene. It's better to see them acting it out than actually doing it. Right? Right? Right. And you see Dame's, all his people are in this movie too. So I'm sure he had a lot of fun as well, because he had Oskino, Smoke Dizza, Murder Mook, Cameron, you know, his wife, you know. So imagine if you did a movie with, you know, all your people that you mess with, everybody you love. I mean, it was probably nothing but fun. But like I was talking to a subscriber of mine, a friend of mine, Ryan Little, not too long ago. He's a fan of battle rap, and I'm still waiting on Murder Mook versus Hollow the Don, man. You know, I'm still waiting for that. You know, a lot of people don't like Mook. A lot of people don't like Murder Mook. I'm not gonna lie. Mook is top 5 to me. He's like top 5 because he just doesn't lose. Like, this dude don't know how to lose. You know, no matter what, he somehow finds a way to win. You know, he somehow finds a way to win. You know, but I want to see that match. Murder Mook versus Hollow the Don. Like, let's go ahead and make it happen. Make it happen, Dame. Pay them each about $100 grand. Give them about $100 grand a piece, and then make 500 out of it or something. I don't know. I don't know the rap. I don't know how the rap business goes. But we was talking about battle rap, and battle rap. I'll tell you guys this. Okay, if you haven't watched, we got a bunch of different leagues, but battle rap is probably the most disrespectful, okay, the most disrespectful, darkest form of rap you're ever going to find. It disrespects anything. Your mom, your daughter, grandmas. It's disrespectful to the core. Cold-blooded. It's cold-blooded stuff. Darkest form of rap you're going to find. Also in this form of rap is you're probably going to find some of the hardest or some of the best, if not the best, lyricists in the game. Hands down. Hands down. These dudes are clever. Which is a lot of times, I have watched a couple of battles in my lifetime. And that's one of the reasons why I like to watch it, because they got different things. They got setups and punchlines and schemes, and it's like, dang, like, how'd you come up with that? Clever, very, very clever. These dudes are very, very clever, and it takes a level of talent. And you got to remember, some of these guys rap for like 5 minutes straight, and you got to remember all of that. This isn't like chorus hook. You know what I'm saying? Chorus hook, melody, da da da. These guys just going in rapping. Lyrics, scheme, performance. Make sure you don't stumble on your words. You see, some of these guys, they'll do it and they choke. You know, I forgot my line. I forgot my line. You know, I ain't seen Murder Mook do that yet. You know, from the ones that I've watched. You know, so. But anyway, a lot of people don't really like his stuff, but I like him. I think he's pretty good. But my thing is, though, here's the interesting thing about that, okay? Because these are lyricists, okay? Is you've got guys saying the most disrespectful things to each other in their faces. Some stuff that if a person said it to you straight up, square up. We boxing for sure, right? You taking off on somebody, you're gonna swing on somebody. They say some of the things that they say to you, right? But they're saying the most disrespectful things in each other's faces, and then after that, they just shake hands and get paid after it, right? It's like, wow, that's crazy. I mean, some guys might not be friends, but at the end of the day, they're respectful enough. Most of them. Shout out to Math Hoffa and Disaster. Most of them don't swing on you, right? After they get upset, they don't necessarily something that guys say. They don't You know what I'm saying? They don't let their emotions get the best of them. I would say about 98% of them haven't done anything. From what I know, only 2 guys have actually gotten into a fight in a battle. 2 guys that I get out of hundreds of battle rappers. So I mean, they got a lot of poise and a lot of you know, restrained to be able to not, you know, hear certain things and not want to, you know, fight. And they just get paid off of it, and, you know, it works. Now, when you can see people take something like that from nothing to the point where they can make something out of it, that's black people 101. That's what we do. We take something, and all we doing is just rapping it back and forth at each other, and we getting paid off of it. Can you imagine you getting paid? That's what I say, the power of the pen and pad. You getting paid off of your pen, you see? You see? And such as a movie script, such as a book. You're getting paid off of your writing. You're getting paid off of your movies. And it starts with the script. And it comes from here, your ideas. Now, what I will say, though, even though it is dark, some of this stuff is dark, obviously for Dame, I would want to have and see Dame do more positive movies, more movies with a deeper, much deeper storyline. You know, this is why shows are good, which, you know, I don't know if he has a show, but it might be a good thing for him to do, is to get into a show, because we all fall in love. It takes a longer time to fall in love with the character, and the plot gets a lot deeper, you know, and of course we want a better representation of black people, of ourselves. I mean, it's cool to have gangster films. It's okay to have it here and there, right? The issue is when it becomes the only thing that we are. So you only see us in gangster films, or you see us in slave movies, or you see us in like we cooning, or just, you know, the comic relief in a movie, right? You know, I would love to see us as a mastermind or something just powerful in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Something, you know, something powerful, right? But I understand because I see Dame trying to make it cool in certain situations, because if it's different if it's you're black versus if you're white doing the same thing, right? But there's a level of taste that goes to it too. But this movie was kind of raw. It was kind of raw, a little bit more on the raw. It wasn't like some mafioso, huge kingpin, you know, bossed up type stuff. It was like, you know, it was almost on the street level, like real street level, where you see guys actually doing the work and doing things in the streets and stuff. It wasn't like, I guess it didn't romanticize it so much. It showed how grimy and gritty that it could be. But like, you know, if you took a show like Breaking Bad, for example, you see a guy like Heisenberg, okay, all he was a chemistry teacher who got cancer or something and couldn't afford it, so he started to sell drugs using his chemistry background and learned how to make meth and became a kingpin. And then nobody's looking at him like then you start cheering for the guy selling drugs. It's like, dang, right? Right? But if a black movie does it, it's like, we doing this gangster stuff again. We doing this thug stuff again, and just selling drugs again. It's a double-edged sword, and it's almost a catch-22. It's good to see guys doing it, acting it out in a movie versus actually living it out. But it also would be good to see better representation, especially from guys like Dame or the independent people, because you have the wherewithal and the mindset to say if you want to do this or not. You don't have to. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't have to do what they tell you to do. Like in the movies now, you like the point that I made. Either it's a gangster film, or abusive, some sort of coon, comic relief, sidekick character. You know what I'm saying? Right? So these are the roles that mainstream Hollywood makes us take. So it's understandable, even though it's not right, it's understandable that you see they're going to do it because we expect that from them. But us who have more of the freedom to be able to put out the better images, you don't necessarily want to go in what everybody else is doing. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to necessarily go in what everybody else is doing. Oh, let me just do gangster films. Let me just do a slave film. Or let me just do a comic relief coon film. You know. And I know Dame is capable of creating something that's very powerful and very enlightening. But, you know, we definitely need that kind of representation, because we, as I said, you know, major studios aren't going to make us look in the best light. You know, they're not going to do that. We know what a rat's going to do. We know what a snake is going to do. You see what I'm saying? So we can't get upset at a snake or a rat's behavior because it's just acting like a snake or a rat. That's just what it does. So that Hollywood doing what Hollywood does is just what it does, even though it ain't right, and we'll speak about it not being right. But you know, it is what it is. The indie guys, it's important to set the tone and set the trends and say, we're going to paint ourselves in this kind of light. Or, you know, we're going to win at the end. Or we're going to, you know what I'm saying? I believe in happy endings, y'all. I really do. Maybe I'm old school, but I still believe in happy endings. But, you know, when you're independent, we can set the stage, and nobody can tell us what to do. We can set the stage, we can set the tone, nobody can tell us what to do. So it's so much more important for us to, you know, do better than what they have conditioned us or taught us or what we have learned from in our environment. It's so much better to evolve, from that. You know what I'm saying? Another dope film would be like, at the end of the film, they were getting into like marijuana, which, you know, marijuana is becoming decriminalized now. And the business behind that and making it so that it's not as dark looked upon. You know what I'm saying? So it's showing like the medicinal aspects of it, and you know, and that'd be a good idea as well. You know, not painting in such a dark light. And let's see. In his book, he also says he's a little tight, a little salty about not getting an Oscar. The movie Get Out, shout out to Jordan Peele. That movie just won an Oscar as well. That was a deep movie. Very deep movie. Had a really good plot. A lot of deep messages in that movie. It was a very relevant film. She talked about, you know, covert racism. You know, in Dame Dash's book, he talks about racism as well. But it shows about the closet and the covert racists, the liberals. You know, we think the racists are going to be these conservatives, KKK. Yeah, we know they're racist. Right-wing, extreme right-wingists. But sometimes it's them liberals and people you think they like you. Those are some of the worst ones. The closet racists. Right? So that film showed that. That film pointed that out as well. And a lot of deep messages in that film, and that just won an Oscar. And this film, Honor Up, very well put together. See, aside from what I said about the shoot 'em up, bang bang, and all that stuff, as far as just quality, it's very well put together, extremely well put together. Good camera angles, very good quality. Me personally, I'm not a guy who's judgmental, because I watch everything. I'm not going to act like I ain't watched everything before. Bootleg, in the theater, old school documentaries, new documentaries, low budget, high budget. I watch a YouTube show, okay? I watch guys doing I watch some shows where a series of guys and they're in YouTube acting. Like, this is just dudes filming from their iPhone and stuff. Like, you know, I'm very open-minded because, you know, I'm a sponge, and I know I'll watch old films and films as like terrible cutouts and just like, this is just terrible, right? But I don't necessarily watch it from that lens per se. I'm very open-minded, and as the saying goes, I can walk amongst kings, or at the same time, I never lose the common touch, right? I can put on a suit and tie, even though I do not like wearing a suit and tie. I hate wearing a suit and tie, but I can do it and hang out with a bunch of yuppies and big wigs or whatever. Or I can also go into a village you know, and just chill out, right? I can go into a village and chill out with the locals, right? I'm very versatile. So I'm not the type to judge a film too heavy. But when I was looking at this film, I said, man, the camera is really good. The angles are very good. It's very good production, right? And so, you know, an Oscar can happen for Dame. There ain't no age limit on how to make movies. You can be well into your 60s, 70s producing movies. And Dame, this dude produced it, wrote it, starred in it, directed it. Dang! This dude was in every role. This dude was in edited every part. Distributed it. Narrated it. I love it. I love it. But that's the part of independence, is sometimes you're going to have to wear many hats. And that's okay. That's okay. That's why I supported it. So he definitely has the pieces to put together a very powerful film. A film that's capable of making an Oscar. Mind you, Jordan Peele, that was, I think it was first movie. Think about it. First movie, made an Oscar already. It's just got to be something that's very relevant, that people want to hear and talk about, and that touches on something that a lot of people don't want to hear. Like, man, that's deep. See, that covert racism, that closet racism, that, you know, those liberals who you think, oh, the Democrats, they're okay, not the Republicans. No, they're just as racist. They can just be just as racist, if not more racist. Okay? If not more racist. Okay? Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. And, but Dame, you can come up with something, especially where he comes from. He comes from Harlem, which is like the Mecca, which is like one of the Meccas of Black America. And so much culture that was birthed out of there, Renaissance, and just like, he can come up with something that would be fire. Pure fire. Come up with a script or something powerful. You know, but it all starts with writing. It all starts with writing. And, you know, if a guy like Jordan Peele can win an Oscar off of his first movie, you can win an Oscar. You know, but it's just got to be something that ties into something that's going to get everybody talking. You know, it's going to get everybody talking. Overall, though, in conclusion, that was just my film review. You know, if you're into that kind of film, support it. You know, if you like Dame, support it, what have you, and his brand. But in conclusion, the book was very easy to read. Very easy book to read. I highly recommend it for the entrepreneurial type, the entrepreneurial business type. Obviously, if you are a fan of Dame Dash, hip-hop, motivation, Kenyatta Griggs, shout out to Kenyatta. If you're a fan, I would recommend this movie. And, you know, as I said, I spoke with Kenyatta on Instagram. Also, I believe he commented on one of my videos, one of my previous videos. So again, shout out to my man, shout out to him. I believe the dude, he's his boss barber, you know, doing other ventures. Started off as a barber and started doing other things. And he's the guy who's the definition of monetizing your lifestyle to the fullest. That's Kenyatta. And, you know, you can tell by his personality, he's a nice guy. He seems like a nice guy. Very patient, too. It's so funny. It's like him and Dame are like the odd couple, for real. Pause, right? They're like the odd couple. Because sometimes Dame be just going off. Sometimes Dame will go off, right? Certain interviews, like, it's him and Claudia Jordan and him and Dame. And Dame is just kind of going in on him, right, a little bit. Just talking trash. Because, you know, Dame's from the old school. He plays the dozens and, you know, tell you your shirt looks bad, or he's one of those type of guys. Tell you look tacky. Like, dang, dude. Like, square up. You know, but you gotta have thick skin dealing with it. He's just in fun. He's just doing it in fun. But Kenyatta just be kind of like, he just be sitting there just chilling, like, You know, just soaking it all in, just like, you know, water rolling off a duck's back. Like, yeah, you know, it almost like it doesn't bother him so much. Other people outside looking in might look at Dame and be like, man, this dude, he's wigging, he's kind of going off a little bit, man. He's kind of just being a little bit arrogant, but it ain't. You gotta go look past that, and it's just so he's nice and peaceful. He's a patient dude, and these guys are like complete opposites. They're complete opposites. It's an interesting dynamic, but you know, I guess that's what makes the relationship work. So, but again, shout out to you, my man. You know, you got a bright future. Keep it up, and I recommend it for anybody who's a student of hip hop. If you're a hip hop head, hip hop fan, because he talks about a lot of things in the industry. Jay-Z, of course, you're gonna have to. You can't say Rockefeller without saying J, Big, and Dames. So you know, they're married whether they like it or not. Pause. Okay, I'm just saying pause because Dame always says pause. So it's like, I guess, right? When in Rome. When in Rome, ciao, right? Buongiorno. Use Italian, right? So I'm just using his words. Don't get used to me saying pause. I don't do that. But you know, different cultures say different things. Soda versus pop, right? Wherever you're living in the country. Okay. But like I was saying, they're like married no matter what. So I knew you're gonna get some Jay-Z info in this and Rockefeller, because that's, no matter what, that's a part of his history. It's a huge part of his legacy. And Jay is a part of Jay's legacy as well, as whether he tries to get rid of it or not. Dame had a lot to do with who he is and who he became and his whole independent speed. Like I posted a freestyle of Jay-Z where he was rapping about being independent and starting Tidal and all that. Where do you think he gets that mindset from? Where do you think he developed that from? You know, they were all together in this. They was all together in this. So, you know, and, you know, Dame is a guy who's taught a lot of different guys. Taught a lot of different guys the game. Kanye's, to Camerons, to Kevin Hart's, to putting a lot of people on from the beginning. That's a real boss. When you can see the talent before anybody else sees it. When you could tell that's a gold mine. When you can anticipate something that's going to be good before everybody else is Johnny-come-lately. He's very good at doing that. He's very good at doing that. Which, he doesn't want to do hip-hop and music anymore. Because he's been there, done that. But I think he'd be a beast if he came back into hip-hop. Because the game is so messed up. And he knows how to... I mean, you think about it. Kanye, Cameron... Like, all these different guys that he got involved with is incredible. Is incredible. All the guys that he's gotten involved with and that he's dealt with. The names that he's been attached, people don't, Lee Daniels, it's like, dang. You know, he's picked a lot of the right ones. But, you know, but like I said, you know, I always like to encourage you guys to read. It's very important. Reading is so important. You know, I don't care if you're reading... I don't care if you're sitting on the toilet reading the back of a toothpaste tube. Okay? Read something. A magazine. Okay? Poetry books. Articles. Read something. Because it's a waste of a skill when you don't read. And I can tell people who don't read. You know, it's easy to tell. Read something. You know, it's very important. I don't care what it is. Poetry, magazine, toothpaste can. Read something. Use that skill. Because there are some people in this world who don't read. Imagine having a skill and you never tap into it. You know what I'm saying? Tap into it. Because you're always going to need to use that skill throughout life. Paperwork and reading into people. Being able to, you know what I'm saying? You're going to always need to use that skill. Whether you choose it or not, it's going to hit you in the face. Just like numbers are going to hit you in the face. So it's good to know some math. Some basic math. You know what I'm saying? And, you know... As I always say on this forum, I don't argue with people who don't read. If you don't read, I don't have time to argue with you. You know, just some other person try to debate me and stuff. And I say, you haven't given me one. I've given you 5 references. You haven't given me one reference to back up what you're saying. So how can I look at you as an expert in what you're talking about? I can't take you seriously, right? If you can't give me a reference, or you can't say that this is my background in this information, here's my expertise. Like, how can I? All you're doing is just talking out of emotion. You're not even giving me anything that can, of substance, that says, okay, you're actually somebody who's well studied or well versed in this topic. So like I always say, I only have so many words for certain people, and I say I don't argue with people who don't read. That's just the motto of this of La Magia, LaMagia.tv, La Magia Media. But like I say, if you read at least one book a month, it ain't got to be the biggest book. This is a thick book. This is a thick book. It ain't got to be something like that. It could be something like this. It could be a thin book. If you decide to read one book a month, you'll have read 12 books a year. And that alone is above the average person. You already have been above the average curve of people. So, it's very important. As I say, it's the foundation of my platform, books. Overall, good stuff. Shout out to Damon Dash. Shout out to Kenyatta Griggs. Salute to y'all, gentlemen. This is something that we can always reference. Thought it was a very good book. Something that I will reference throughout my other videos, just like I reference a bunch of other things. Culture vultures is a term that we use throughout the community big time. It's grown a leg on its own, like I've said. It's grown a life of its own. We use it for so many other things. Nefertiti becoming, Queen Nefertiti becoming white, culture vulture. You know, culture vultures go ahead and steal the Egyptian culture, Kemetic culture. You know, we use it for so much other stuff. So, you know, but we understand where it comes from. But shout out to these gentlemen for putting together an intellectual piece that we can digest and discuss, something that we can reference. And overall, I thought it was a good book. My apologies to you guys for not getting this out sooner. Wasn't that it wasn't a good book. It was a great book. But I have been so busy with grad school, been so busy with the platforms, been so busy with breaking news and all these other different things that come up that I had to read it very, not as fast as I like to have read. But luckily, the writing is for the people who might have bad vision, can't see very well, and it's very simple, and it's not heavy, not a whole bunch of million-dollar words in this book, just the way I like it. You know, even though I have a rich vocabulary, I always like to say, like Malcolm says, you're not deep if you can use all these big words. You deep if you can break anything down to such a level that a 5-year-old can understand you. That's why I don't necessarily like to cuss when I do my videos. I don't like to use the hugest words because I don't care if your 80-year-old grandma's watching or your 5-year-old daughter's watching. I don't really care. Some of y'all might have kids on your lap listening to me, so I make sure that I try to at least give my best foot forward when I do these videos. So, but this book is very easy to read, as you can see. Easy to see. So, that's all I got, y'all. Sandile signing off from LaMagia.tv, La Magia Media. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Take care. Peace.